Greetings and salutations, we are back. So we're going to do a quick video on reading a site plan and figuring out when you need to worry about soffit overhangs. So I'm going to go ahead and take off some of these red lines and stuff. And this one was graciously redlined partially by the builder. And we're going to look kind of at what we need to see on a site plan. So you always need to see a rear setback line, side setback lines clearly marked, and a front building line. And if there's any utility easements and everything else, it's normally something that your planner will look for, but it's a good idea to have all of that information on there. So let's touch on when we actually need to have a fire rated soffit. So per code, it's chapter 302 I believe, touches on this. The way that the residential building code reads as opposed to commercial building code is your property line is your center line between properties. So from your property line, if you're 5 feet or less, you start having fire rated requirements. What you'll mainly look for right off the bat to let you know that you might have a fire rated issue is houses that are built right on that side setback line. So this house is 5 foot 1 inches. This is require a fire rated overhang. Anything less than 5 feet will require a 1 hour rated wall down to 3 feet. At 3 feet to 1 foot, you have to have a fire rated wall, a fire rated overhang, and less than 25% of the windows there. You won't see much of that. And at 1 foot, you won't be able to have any sort of openings or projections. So this comes in important later on for determining, let's say you have overhangs. Commonly you would see on like pace setter homes, which we have an example of a set here. So you have a house that's at 7 foot 7.25 inches. Now, at a casual glance, you really wouldn't need to worry about potential overhangs. However, in this plan set, you'll notice that there is a 2 foot cantilever. And a lot of times in your site plan, especially when it's pace setter homes or other homes like that, they don't show all of the roof projections. Sometimes they'll show the extra box windows and projections on the site plan, but most of the time they won't. So that 7 foot, you've already eaten up 2 feet of that, and you would have to have a fire rated soffit because then you go another foot past the 2 foot. So you have reached 3 feet into that area. So that 7 foot disappears and becomes a fire rated assembly. And sometimes, depending on where it's located on there, will be if it's a fire rated wall or anything of that nature. What you'll need to try and determine is if the site plan shows the overall footprint of the house or if it just shows the bottom floor footprint. So we're looking at roughly a 20 foot wide structure, 22 foot wide with the second floor plan. So how wide is our house? Well, if you're counting the second floor structure and it's supposed to be 22 feet wide and you're measuring a 20 foot wide footprint, they're showing the footprint of the slab, not the footprint of the actual top of the house. So this will actually require fire rated soffits. And for that 2 foot overhang, a fire rated assembly towards the front here. On a V-lot, you can take all this into consideration, but it's good to just kind of mark it on the plans as a catch-all. That's this is kind of one of these situations where it turns out to be a bit more interesting than at first glance. Same with box windows. You'll generally check and see if it's how much projection. Usually you have a foot 2 inches on projection for a box window. You have your 2 foot projection for your overhang, then your additional 12 to 16 inches of soffit. So this house definitely requires a fire-rated soffit. What you'll want to look for when you do have the fire-rated soffit is that the plan accounts for having low side venting to make up for the fire-rated soffit. We'll touch on venting calculations later. So this is where the fire-rated overhang details become very important. Most people who design residential houses will give you the wrong UL listing. They'll give you UL 263, which would be a wall in between a duplex or a wall in between a townhome. What you're going to look for is 305 and 309. 305 is going to be your exterior wall cladding, and 309, I believe, if memory serves me right, is the underneath fire rating. This will have to have hardy off of it at inspection, and generally you'll inspect for dense class here. But whenever you see a projection in the fire rated area, you need to make sure they have a fire rated wall assembly in the plans. It's incumbent that you verify this. Now let's say that you want to verify what UL listing you're looking for. I used to have it bookmarked here. Generally, you can just hop on Google and do a search of the UL assembly. So this one, unfortunately, is a standards library that you end up having to purchase. What you'll generally look for is a PDF in your search. And this will show you the various configurations for the UL listing that you're wanting to see. So they'll have like a steel version, all of the different types of permutations of how it's put together, where you locate insulation, what materials you need, how many layers of said material you need. So 263 is going to be your fire resistance between two structures, non-load bearing wall generally. So let's see, we'll check 305. It's good to actually check your assembly detail. So this is going to be like an exterior load bearing wall will be your fire rating. Generally you'll have a 2 layers of type X. So to achieve your 1 hour rating, you'll have 40 minutes of type X on the exterior insulation, then 40 minutes of type X on the interior. I know technically that's 80 minutes, but they consider that a 1 hour rating. .309 is a like a shaft liner assembly or a bearing wall rating. So it'll show like a horizontal, it's also usable in a horizontal assembly. So that's just, as you're going through a set of plans, make sure they're actually listing the right type of plan, right type of UL listing. It's important that you actually kind of familiarize yourselves with the ULs that you'll generally deal with, which will be 309, 305, 263, and I think there's one's 280, 283. Those are going to be most of your residential wall fire assemblies. Well, that should be it for the quick run through site plan and fire rated soffits and overhangs. If you have any questions, reach out to me at stoplogic1313@gmail.com. Have a great day.